Hope you all are doing well. I'm sorry I haven't been able to make any videos in the past month because of some personal issues. But I'm back with some new fascinating facts. So today's topic is going to be about some mysterious things. So let's get started with them alone. Point number 1. So if you find yourself in the forest and see some mysterious staircases which lead to nowhere, do not go upstairs. It will be really dangerous for you. Now the reason for these mysterious staircases has still not been found yet. And there are many stories about these mysterious staircases. And let me share one of them. So once a person was going into the forest and he was just searching for any survivors who were just stuck in the forest. But suddenly, instead of finding survivors, he found a mysterious staircase which leads to nowhere. Now, he thought of checking the staircase because maybe some survivors might be hiding behind or somewhere near it. So he stepped on the staircase and suddenly out of nowhere, a giant wolf came and it led him to the top of the staircase, which basically led to nowhere. Now, at the top of the staircase, when he came down, when he got home, he time traveled because the news told that the guy was missing for about 5 years. Wow! Now, scientists have still been working on and has not found any research about it. Hopefully, we'll get to understand why these staircases exist and why they do some mysterious things. So, point number 2, the Monkey Zone of Silence. So if you find yourself stranded in the Monkey Zone of Silence, be prepared for it because some bizarre things might just start happening when you even enter. So why is it named the Monkey Zone of Silence? So when the pilot Francisco Sarambia was flying over this patch of desert, he didn't knew that this would be later duped as the Zone of Silence. Now, what happened to his plane was, when he was flying over it, his instruments started acting really weird, and so he had to make an emergency landing. And there were many other stories too, that there were strange people wearing bizarre shirts and clothes which are not suitable for the environment. Now, scientists think the reason for these things happening over there, as there are some magnetic things going on, radio frequency are bad over there, and more like these things are there. Scientists think that as that area has more minerals and more asteroids are hitting every year over there, it may be because of those which attract those radios and disconnect those things. And those people are just to create more legends and creating more mysteries. So this is a point where we talk about Monkey Zone of Silence, also known as the Zone of Silence. So let's go to point number 3. Now, have you ever heard of the plane which disappeared for almost 37 years? Well, I have sure. So let me share the story of it. So Pan AM flight 914 was taking off from New York and was supposed to land in Miami. Now what happened there was that when the plane took off, just after a few minutes later, it disappeared from the radar. And when the rescuers came to the sky and checked, the plane was nowhere to be found. Now the people at that time thought that the plane had crashed somewhere in the ocean or something. So it was told that the plane had crashed. But some thought that it had time traveled or maybe gone somewhere else too. So after 37 years later, the plane finally landed in an airport. The communication between the pilot and the air traffic control was pretty weird because the air traffic controller didn't knew that there was any flight scheduled for today called Pan AM Flight 94. Then, when the plane finally landed, the co-pilot told to take off the plane and go to the actual destination. They left an image behind, which was the actual image of the 1955 plane. Now the scientists think what could have happened is the plane could have located, the plane's directions could have located and wormholes. Now what are wormholes? The wormholes are pretty tiny, so much tiny you couldn't even fit them. But somehow this plane managed to go through that wormhole and then come out of that wormhole in another destination. And these wormholes can make you time travel. So this scientists think could have happened, but are also working on that a normal day plane can also go into those wormholes anytime soon, or can we even time travel to the future? Now those are scientists are working on those for the future. So this was point number 3, where we are talking about the plane which disappeared for 37 years. Point number 4. So, have you ever heard of the train which disappeared forever? Well, I just told you on the third or maybe on the second point that the plane had also disappeared, but it returned. But this one never returned and has been mentioned in many other books too. So let me share the story. So the Zenati Lines was a new train liners who thought to give a free ride to all to test the comfort of the train. Now what happened was, as the train was going through the track and all, there was a cave. And the tunnel, when they entered that, suddenly the train stopped and white smoke started coming out all sides. 2 passengers managed to break the glass and escape, but the others weren't so lucky. So after that, what happened was, those 2 people escaped while the train was damaged, and then suddenly it disappeared after the rescuers came to it. Now scientists think what could have happened is that there was an earthquake at that time which made a hole on the tunnel, and that pressure of the earth and the pressure of the train together could have created a small or maybe a little bit big wormhole, which also made them time travel to the late 18th century when there was a war and all. And also they traveled to the very before time, before the train was even created. But the most mysterious thing is that how would a train go through places while there was no track that area? Now that's one of the mysteries that scientists still couldn't explain. Hopefully scientists will be able to explain this after a few years or maybe in the future too. Coming to the last but not the least point, and the most mysterious point too. So this point is about the person which could have traveled to the 4th dimension. So first I'll tell you the story, and then I'll begin talking about what do we mean by the 4th dimension. So let's get started. So the person was a shoemaker in the 18th century, and he loved to show his talents, and he was also a great runner. So his friends challenged him to run from a city to another city and come back again to the city from where he started. So to understand that the person was not cheating, his friends skipped his distance and followed him with a car behind. So what happened was that the guy was running and running, when suddenly tripped on a rock and then suddenly disappeared out of thin air. Now this is what we know the friends told to everyone. Now people think about this as the friends may have kidnapped him, or maybe it's a weird magic trick, or maybe he traveled to the 4th dimension. Now scientists still could not tell why and how he could have traveled to somewhere, maybe how did he disappear and never came back. Now this story was also, when a writer was also writing the story, he also disappeared, which is so weird and also mysterious. Scientists still couldn't explain, as I told earlier. So can you tell me anything that this story, that some of the things from the story matches with something in the from the Savior? Well, if you can, then you can send me in my email ID. But for now, let's talk about the fourth dimension. What do I mean by fourth dimension? Now we are all used to a 3D dimension, meaning that the cube is a 3D. Now what do we mean by fourth? Meaning there's a cube inside of a cube. Now this means that you can see inside of stuff, which is pretty weird too. Now that's a very good mathematics thing which I will explain maybe in my next videos. So if you've enjoyed watching this video, give this video a like, and if you're new to the channel then subscribe. So this is it for today, guys. I'll meet you guys in my next videos too. Okay, so bye bye.